I'll take everything in the divorce, my wife threatened, hiding our investments. You're too stupid to understand business, she mocked in front of his friends. I stayed silent. 48 hours later, her lawyer was frantically calling me. My wife of 8 years and I are getting divorced. Last month, she told me she needed space and wasn't fulfilled in our marriage anymore. Fine. These things happen. I was hurt but willing to handle it like adults. Then I discovered she'd been slowly moving our investments into accounts I didn't have access to. Small amounts at first, then larger transfers right before she dropped the divorce bomb. When I confronted her about it last Saturday, her reaction still makes my blood boil. I'll take everything in the divorce, she smirked. The house, the cars, or savings. My lawyer says I have a strong case. I stayed calm. Ask her why she thought that. Because you've always been financially illiterate, she said. I've been managing everything while you played video games and watched sports. What judge wouldn't side with me? I just nodded, said we'd see how things played out. Fast forward to yesterday. We were at dinner with our friends, the gathering she insisted on having despite the separation, probably to save face. Everyone was uncomfortable. 3 drinks in, my wife started mocking me openly. He doesn't even know what assets we have, she laughed. You're too stupid to understand business. That's why I handle everything. Our friends looked mortified. I just smiled, excused myself, and texted my brother to pick me up. Left without saying goodbye. What my wife doesn't know is that before we got married, I worked in financial forensics for 5 years. I literally helped track hidden assets in high-profile divorce cases before switching to software development. I never discussed my previous career much because it wasn't relevant to our daily lives. I spent the last 2 weeks documenting every account, every transfer, every conversation. I hired my old boss as my attorney, one of the top divorce lawyers in the state. I've captured screenshots of her moving money, recorded her admissions, and tracked down the offshore account she thought I'd never find. This morning, her lawyer called mine, frantically asking for an emergency meeting. Apparently, they just discovered my employment history and realized what they're up against. I'm sitting in my car outside my attorney's office right now, watching my phone blow up with text from my wife. The latest one, we need to talk ASAP. I think there's been a misunderstanding. No, there's been no misunderstanding. She showed me exactly who she is, and I believed her. Now she's about to learn that sometimes the stupid spouse isn't so stupid after all. I'll update after the meeting. Edit. Holy crap. This blew up overnight. Thanks for the support, everyone. To answer some common questions, 1. Yes. I have backups of everything stored in multiple secure locations. 2. No. I'm not looking to take everything from her. Just my fair share. 3. We don't have kids, thankfully. Meeting is in 30 minutes. We'll update when I can. Update 1. First, thanks everyone for the overwhelming support. Didn't expect my post to blow up like that. The past 48 hours have been absolute chaos, but I promised an update, so here it is. The meeting with the lawyers was something else. I arrived early and waited in my attorney's office. Wife and her lawyer showed up right on time, her eyes red but chin up. Classic her. My attorney didn't waste time. He laid out everything we had, detailed records of every account she'd opened or transferred money to over the past 7 months, including 2 offshore accounts in Belize and the Cayman Islands. The color literally drained from her face with each document slide. These transfers constitute clear attempts to hide marital assets, my attorney said. We've also documented numerous instances where your client made disparaging comments about my client's financial acumen while actively concealing these accounts. Her lawyer kept glancing nervously at the evidence pile. Perhaps we should discuss this privately with our clients, he suggested. No need, I said. I'm comfortable hearing everything. Wife finally spoke up. This is ridiculous. I was just protecting her assets. From whom? My attorney asked. That's when her lawyer whispered something to her, and I watched the realization hit her. They were screwed. She switched tactics immediately. Baby, this is all a misunderstanding, she said, reaching for my hand. I was just reorganizing things. I pull my hand back. The judge will find that interesting, especially with the recordings. What recordings? Her lawyer asked sharply. My attorney smiled. My client has audio recordings of your client explicitly stating her intention to hide assets, mocking him for being too stupid to find them, and detailing her plan to take everything in the divorce. Her lawyer looked like he'd swallowed something sour. We'll need to verify the legality of these recordings. Single-party consent state, my attorney replied, completely admissible. The meeting ended with her lawyer asking for time to reassess their position. As we were leaving, wife grabbed my arm in the hallway. Why are you doing this? She hissed. You're supposed to be the nice one to push over. I just looked at her. That's your first mistake. You never really knew me at all. When I got home, I found she'd been there, clothes thrown around, drawers emptied. Classic tantrum behavior. This morning, Her lawyer called again requesting a settlement conference. They're suddenly eager to resolve this amicably. My attorney thinks they're in damage control mode, especially since wife's father is a prominent businessman in our community. The settlement proposal they sent over is laughable, offering me basically what I'm legally entitled to anyway, acting like it's some generous concession. My attorney sent back our counteroffer, including compensation for legal fees. Meanwhile, wife has been telling our friends I'm being vindictive and cruel. 3 of them called to ask what's really going on. When I played them the recording of her at dinner, 2 immediately apologized for believing her. The third, her best friend, hung up on me. The most surprising call came from father-in-law this evening. I raised her better than this, he said, sounding tired. I don't know what she was thinking. Neither do I tbh. I never gave her any reason to think I'd try to take advantage of her in a divorce. We could have just split things fairly and moved on. Today, I'm packing up and moving in with my brother temporarily. I don't trust her not to pull something while this plays out. It's strange. I'm not even angry anymore. Just disappointed and tired. The woman I loved for 8 years never really existed. Her latest text, "You made your point. Let's just stop this before we destroy each other." Too late for that. She pulled the pin on this grenade. I'm just making sure I don't get caught in the blast. We'll update again when there are significant developments. Update 2. It's been 2 weeks since my last update, and things have moved faster than I expected. Buckle up. After our lawyers' meeting, wife realized her take-him-for-everything strategy had backfired spectacularly. She switched to Plan B, reconciliation. I started receiving flowers at work, handwritten letters about how she'd made a terrible mistake, and even a surprise visit to my brother's place where she was crying on the doorstep. My brother, bless him, just stood there with his arms crossed. "He's not available," he said, then closed the door. The text barrage that followed was something else. "I can't believe you're being so cold. After 8 years, I deserve a conversation at least. You're acting like I committed some horrible crime." I didn't respond, just forwarded everything to my attorney. Meanwhile, the financial investigation kept uncovering more layers. Turns out wife had been planning this for longer than I thought. Almost a year of methodical transfers, account setups, and consultations with financial advisors about protecting assets from a spouse. One of those advisors actually reached out to my lawyer with documentation after he realized what she was trying to do. The real bombshell dropped 3 days ago. My attorney called with news. "Your wife's lawyer just withdrew from representing her. Apparently, she lied to her own attorney about several accounts. When he discovered this, after our settlement talk stalled, he couldn't continue representing her without being party to fraud." This sent her into a tailspin. She showed up at my workplace, creating such a scene that security had to escort her out. Last night, I got a call from her sister, who I've always been cool with. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I had no idea she was doing this." According to her sister, wife had been bragging to their family about how she was securing her future and how I was too trusting to question her. The most surreal part? Wife's new lawyer, yes, she found someone else, called mine, claiming I had coerced her into making those recordings by manipulating her emotions. My attorney actually laughed. "So your client was manipulated into admitting she was hiding assets by the man she described as too stupid to find them?" Interesting theory. The settlement conference is scheduled for tomorrow. My attorney says given everything that's come to light, we're in an extremely strong position. Father-in-law called again today. He sounded defeated. "She's always been stubborn," he said. "When she realized what you used to do for a living, well, I've never seen her so angry. She feels like you tricked her by not discussing a previous job?" I asked. "By letting her underestimate you," he replied. "Pride was always her downfall. I've started therapy to deal with all this." The therapist asked what I missed most about my marriage. The answer surprised me. Not my wife, not our life together, but the person I thought she was. That person never existed. Tomorrow is going to be tough. I'll update after the settlement conference. Final update. It's been a month since the settlement conference, and I can finally say this chapter of my life is closing. Here's how everything played out. The settlement conference was scheduled for 9 a.m. I arrived early feeling surprisingly calm. At 8:55, my attorney got a call. Wife was running late. By 9:30, her new lawyer arrived alone, looking uncomfortable. "My client is indisposed," he explained vaguely. We later found out she'd had some sort of meltdown that morning and refused to attend. Rescheduled for the following week. During that week, something shifted. Maybe reality finally sank in, or maybe her parents intervened. When we reconvened, wife was a different person. Subdued, almost shell-shocked. She barely spoke, just nodded as her lawyer presented their revised settlement offer. The terms were fair. Better than fair, actually. A clean 50-50 split of our legitimate marital assets with her returning all the hidden funds to be divided properly. I would keep my retirement accounts intact. She would keep the house with an equalization payment to me, and we'd each take our own vehicles. She also agreed to cover 70% of my legal fees. As we were signing the preliminary documents, she finally spoke directly to me. "I don't understand why you didn't fight back sooner," she said quietly. "All those times I made decisions without you or talked over you with our friends, you just took it. I respected you. I thought we were partners making joint decisions. I never saw it as letting you do anything." She looked away. "My dad always said I was too controlling. I thought he was being sexist." "Sometimes it's not about gender," I replied. "It's just about respect." After the papers were signed, her lawyer left quickly. Wife lingered, seeming lost. "For what it's worth," she said finally, "I didn't start hiding money because I stopped loving you. I started because I was scared of ending up with nothing." "So you decided to do the destroying first?" I asked. She had no answer for that. Father-in-law was waiting in the lobby. He gave me a firm handshake. "You handled this with more grace than she deserved," he said. "I want you to know we don't blame you." "I don't blame her either," I replied. "Not anymore." And that was mostly true. The anger had burned out, leaving just a hollow sadness for what could have been. The divorce was finalized last week, record speed, thanks to our agreement. I moved into a new apartment, started reconnecting with friends I'd lost touch with, and even joined a hiking group. My therapist says I'm processing things in a healthy way. The financial aftermath was significant but not devastating. I recovered most of what was rightfully mine. The offshore accounts have been closed. The hidden funds returned and divided. My credit took a hit, but it's improving. The social fallout has been mixed. Some friends chose sides, mostly hers. Others have tried to stay neutral. Her family, surprisingly, has maintained contact. Her sister texts occasionally to check on me, and father-in-law invited me to golf next month, saying divorce ends marriages, not all relationships. As for my ex-wife, I heard she's selling a house and moving to another state, possibly to work for a cousin's business. Yesterday, I received a handwritten letter from her. It was short. "I'm sorry for who I became in our marriage and how I treated you. You deserve better. I'm getting help to understand why I did what I did. I don't expect forgiveness, but I needed you to know. I haven't decided if I'll respond. Some closure is better left unchallenged." The strangest part of all this? I'm okay, better than okay. There's a certain freedom in discovering your worst fears and surviving them. I thought losing my marriage would destroy me, but it didn't. I thought discovering my wife's betrayal would break my heart irreparably. But hearts are tougher than we think. Last week, a colleague asked if I regretted hiring such an aggressive attorney given how much it cost. I told her what my therapist told me. Sometimes the price of peace is standing your ground. I stood my ground. I got my peace. And now finally, I'm moving forward. This will be my final update. Time to start writing new stories instead of rehashing old ones. Edit. Some have asked if I learned anything from all this. Yeah. Trust your gut. Document everything. And remember that letting yourself be treated with respect isn't being a doormat. Also, how someone treats you says more about them than it does about you.